starts as a slight tingle in the toes.
I'm sure there's people that went to one show and was kind of like, whoa, this is too intense.
I'm gonna start throwing things at people, I'm gonna bite your leg, you know, and so.
But you don't want people to be like, oh, ALO, like that's a little too freaky, or it's a little too crazy for me, like.
They're kind of freaky to play for sometimes.
I mean, there's some animals that might not be tolerated.
Some people play possum.
Yeah, you can't look for a definitive meaning of that.
Because I think it is inexplainable. It's like something that's unfolding.
But really, orchestra is the key word.
And one, and two, and three.
Reflect on the nature of liberating your inner animal.
How exactly does it work? It starts as a slight tingle in the toes, and then it bubbles up. It sometimes manifests as like a physical movement. Sometimes it's just a sort of like, whoo, whoo. And then sometimes it's just sort of like a nudge to a friend. Sometimes it involves like,
Dance party.
you know,
Drooling.
snorting. And sometimes it's just like standing there. Like last night there was a girl right up front who was like, who went morose.
She went morose?
It was like a morose girl, and it was, I mean, she seemed to be really
I know
in,
you're talking about.
really,
Oh yeah,
in front of
over kind of
me.
near Dan.
but
You didn't want to say.
but you know, you don't want to say, but you know, it's like, it's like she seemed really into it, but it's like different people, you know, what kind of animal was that?
Yeah.
Like an owl, or was it a deer in the headlights, or was
She
it?
was out, if it's the one, and I'm thinking if she was the one who was up on the front the whole time.
Yeah, really.
So she was obviously
Clearly-
there for a reason.
Yeah,
Like,
clearly into it, but
Into it.
her way of liberating her animal. Some people do like a
dead,
wild
man.
animal thing, you know.
Sometimes that can be freaky to
Some people
who
play
get up
possum.
front.
Some people play possum.
I think sometimes those are the people who are actually the most into it. The people who are just so
Still.
into it, they aren't even responding. But because like you wouldn't stand there all that time if you weren't like totally into it. But they're kind of freaky to play for sometimes.
I mean, you know, anytime
Because
you're
you're like
talking
not
about
getting anything back from them.
liberation, you know, involves freedom.
Yeah.
And so freedom is this weird boundary where it's like, okay, let's all be free. Like I'm gonna tear off my clothes, or I'm gonna start throwing things at people, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
bite your leg, you know.
There's
So-
definitely a line that gets crossed sometimes when people are a little too free. It's
not fun for anyone.
That freaks me out too.
So how do you know, is the show a safe place to liberate your animal? Sort of. I mean, there's some animals that might not be tolerated.
Yeah.
You know? The thing is to inspire participation, but you don't want to
Yeah.
make people feel uncomfortable if they don't want to participate. Like, I want people to feel like invited, and like, let's have some sort of mixing of, you know,
Yeah.
human, I don't
If
know.
you want to dress up,
It's
dress
unfolding. I'm not sure what it is, yeah.
up. Yeah.
It's unfolding.
Yeah, they don't.
We
don't
encourage
wanna-
expression, though. I would say definitely. Like,
Participation.
there's no doubt that ALO encourages people to come to the show and be expressive.
And we don't want to alienate anybody. We don't want people to feel like it's a weird place to go.
No. Well, plus, you know, you're trying, you want people to come.
You want people to come, but you don't want people to be like, oh, ALO, like that's a little too freaky, or it's a little too crazy for me. Like their fans are a little nutty or whatever.
Well, I'm sure there's people who think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that went to one show and was kind of like, whoa, this is too intense.
And every
or-
town brings out a different
That's true. On
assortment
the
of
East
people.
Coast,
Like,
it's a way more low key.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
any
true.
gathering of humans. You
There
know,
might
you,
be people out
you go to a
there
football
who like
game, and there's like the people who've painted their faces, and they're like chanting, and then there's people who just watch the game. You know,
there's the
There's
Raiders
people that
fans,
write
and then
down
there's
the
the.
points.
yeah. There's people who are like.
I saw
was-
some of that last night.
I was kind of tired last night, and I was thinking about like when you're at a baseball game, and like someone will be like ripping on like one of the ball players because they're like, they're tired.
Hecklers.
Like, oh man, stop running, dude. And I was like, he probably is tired. You know.
I couldn't believe that. Like the first time I went to a pro basketball game and I saw a fan doing that,
Heckling, yeah.
yelling at this player who
Pissed.
was a veteran. I mean, he's one of the best guys to ever play the game. And this fan was literally 20 feet away from him. I think when you watch basketball on television, it looks like the scale looks bigger, but you're close.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just ripping this guy up, and I was just like, that's so
Music
rude.
fans just do it in
That's
chat
so
rooms.
rude. Yeah, they do it in chat rooms. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you're on stage and they're like, play something funky, and you're like, oh damn,
Yeah,
I thought that was funky.
that, but worse. It was like, come on, Steve, you can't play bass anymore. Come on.
I know.
What's wrong with you?
Or
Sit down.
Or sometimes it's like you
Whoa.
stop and like you take maybe a little longer in between songs,
Yeah.
and someone's like, all right,
Come
one,
on.
two, like, trying to
Keep it
count
going,
you
keep it
in.
moving,
And
guys.
keep the energy up. Keep the energy up.
That's funny, man.
But yeah, liberating the inner animal. I think it's a lifelong process. I always think like, are you liberating yourself from your inner animal, or are you actually setting your animal free? And like, is there a, you know?
Yeah, I'm still not clear.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. I think it's both.
But it's
you know?
all that.
probably why we-
different at different times.
Change the name to ALO at a certain point. Just to like relieve ourselves from
ALO.
having to explain it.
Yeah.
Or understand
Because
it
I think it
ourselves.
is inexplainable. It's like something that's unfolding, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
each time.
Yeah, you can't look for
Orchestra.
a definitive meaning of that.
Yeah.
You
It
tell-
doesn't exist.
You tell people the full name of the band though sometimes, and they're like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, I think on a historical level,
It's kinda funny.
people have been liberating their inner animals at, you know, festivals and like shamanic gatherings. Like
Yeah.
there's a real tradition
All
of it,
the
whether
time.
it's like putting on your buffalo helmet and like becoming an animal, you know, like in like,
The animal spirit.
yeah, animal spirits,
Connecting with
totem
animals.
poles. I mean, it's something that goes back much further than we do.
And a lot of focus gets put on the animal liberation part of the name,
Yeah.
but really orchestra is the key word.
It is the key word.
Because it's liberating your animal, but in a controlled.
In an
Yes.
orchestra.
The orchestra is composed,
Yes. Yes.
But I like that how we sort of can teeter between the more
Well,
composed and
it's
the
like
more
it's
free.
like
To
we're
Ben's on,
hurting,
right?
improv,
Or the
yeah.
piece, who's the conductor?
It's like trying to stop
The
the
audience.
stampede that is you.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
animal and the orchestra, they
sort
kind
of-
of fight each other.
Yeah. Yeah, the
We
animal's
dance that.
feral.
They're battling for
Dance
the
that dance.
control.
The animal's feral, the orchestra is anything but feral.
Yeah, they wear tuxes with,
Yeah.
with bow ties.
And a one, and a two,
yes,
and a
and they
three.
watch their one conductor all the time.
You can almost imagine like a bunch of animals like trying to
Yeah,
trying to be an orchestra.
trying to be an orchestra, and they just like snarls.
Their
and
hands
start
are too
ripping
big.
off their,
The
yeah.
little
Whoops
chicken
on the-
like wanders in. He just throws his violin on the ground and
It's
starts
sort of
ripping it apart.
another
Like,
word for like a circus.
Never been performed before.
Yeah,
Thanks. Yeah, that was fun.
good job, brother.